Spain's Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez has said that the Israeli and the American war on Iran is illegal. Now, Sanchez has firmly opposed the war from day one, refusing to allow the U.S. military forces to use the air bases in Spain. Listen in.
And I think that the message that
we are against this war because it is illegal. There's no reason behind it. And it's causing a lot of damage. Civilians, of course, refugees, and the economic consequences of the whole war, especially this global south, is already suffering.
Connected with the rest of the wars that we have witnessed over.
Now, Sanchez's unequivocal denunciation has come as the European leaders have gathered for a summit in Brussels. Sanchez also has urged the European Union to play an active role and to push for a diplomatic solution to this war. At the Brussels meeting, the European Union called for a moratorium on the attacks against energy and water facilities. The bloc's leaders have also called for de-escalation and maximum restraint and the protection of civilians and civil infrastructure and full respect of international law by all parties. Now, Europe has also been pushing back against Trump's call to join the defense of Hormuz. His appeal to other world powers to help reopen the strait has not received an enthusiastic response. 7 nations have offered help, but most of them say that any military aid will come only after a ceasefire. In a letter to the United Nations Security Council, the US presented its international legal justification for the military campaign. The letter cites self-defense. However, the Trump administration has struggled to outline the threat from Iran. The United States has been claiming that Iran was close to getting nuclear bombs, but its own intelligence assessment seems to be presenting a completely different picture.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was an imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime?
The intelligence community assessed that Iran maintained the intention to rebuild and to continue to grow their nuclear enrichment capability.
Was it the assessment of the intelligence community that there was a, quote, imminent nuclear threat posed by the Iranian regime, yes or no?
Senator, the only person who can determine what is and is not an imminent threat is the president.
False. This is the worldwide, this is the world.
On the other hand, Israel is now hinting that the war could be taken to the next level. Netanyahu says that the attack from air are not enough to topple the Iranian government.
It is often said that you can't do revolutions from the air. That is true. You can't do it only from the air. You can do a lot of things from the air, and we're doing, but there has to be a ground component as well. There are many possibilities for this ground component, and I take the liberty of not sharing with you all those possibilities.
And we earlier spoke with Jane Kinnenmont, who is the CEO of the United Nations Association in the United Kingdom. Listen to what she had to say.
The US and Israeli attack on Iran is clearly a violation of international law and the UN Charter. It's illegal to start wars in most circumstances unless there is an imminent threat and diplomatic avenues have been exhausted, which could at times force a country to engage in war for self-defence purposes. Here, though, the imminent threat does not appear to have been the case. There have, of course, been ongoing tensions and conflict between Iran and Israel, but that is not the same thing as saying that Iran was about to attack Israel. And as we've heard, there were diplomatic routes available to resolve the nuclear issue with Iran. And indeed, that had happened in the past. Under Barack Obama, the US had engaged in a multilateral agreement that ensured Iran's nuclear program was kept for peaceful energy purposes, verified by international inspections. So Pedro Sanchez is right. We at the UN Association in the UK issued a statement about the war being illegal immediately when it started. And actually, other European leaders think the same. But most of them have been more wary of speaking so clearly.